Hello, friends, and welcome back to part two of my Virgin Builds a Balsa series. This is the first balsa kit I've ever put together, and we're going to go through it step by step, and you guys get a chance to see how somebody that's never put a kit together, in case that happens to be somebody like yourself as well, you're going to see exactly what it takes to put a balsa kit together for the first time. I am, of course, super nervous because I've never done this before, and of course, I've never posted video doing this before, so let the critiques fall as they may, but at this point, we're going to go ahead and go through it. I have already put the unnecessary things that I need back into the box. One tip, which is just a complete side note, I want to put all the paperwork for the wings and all that. The last thing I put inside the box was the thin metal rods that we're going to need for the landing gear, and I slid those in between the paper to make sure that they stay inside the box and don't fall out of the cracks. So just a little tip there for you. So we'll go ahead and throw that down on the ground. All right, so like we talked about in the last episode, we're going to be working on the fuselage. So if you want to see exactly how that works out today, you know what I recommend you do? You stick around. Nice, nice. All right, friends, here we are. We're back. We're going to go ahead and work on the fuselage. Apparently, what we're going to need here, besides the balsa pieces, and you can kind of see I've moved everything off to the side. We're going to need, of course, the tool kit that I got, which is, so I'll go ahead and break that out and throw that off over here to the side. And I'm not going to necessarily read over everything, but what I do recommend for somebody that's never put a kit together just like myself is that you read over everything first before you start doing anything, just to kind of familiarize yourself as to the terminology that they're talking about. Like, for one, I was calling these ribs, which is the thicker of the two bundles of sticks kind of thing. These are actually called formers. So when you see them called formers here, you'll see that these are going to be the larger pieces that you'll use. One thing I also did notice is that when you put these down, they are basically the exact same size, and if they're supposed to be laying flat, and if they're supposed to be laying like here vertically, they're the same width as well. So they kind of give you a good idea as to how that former is supposed to lay. It's supposed to be up and down, it's supposed to be sideways. And I apologize if you hear that noise in the background. I have a tree that is resting on my deck out there, and it's really windy, so it's rubbing against the deck. So if you hear that, that is not gas. That is a tree rubbing against my deck out there. Sorry. Anyway, it's a good day to work on a plane because it's not a good day to fly. Let's put it that way. All right, so let's go over this Beechcraft Staggerwing kit number 332. First thing, fuselage. We're going to go ahead and start with number one, and talks about build fuselage frame directly over the fuselage layout right side and fuselage layout left side. So that means what we're going to be doing here in this first part again is working on the right side of the fuselage and then the left side of the fuselage. So we'd be looking to put those parts down. The parts are numbered as they go through here, and then to correlate what those numbers are, you just go back to your diagram here. Like, this is number, these two pieces right here, number B1, and then if you look here, you got number B1. So you find that particular board, which is board F, which is this one, 32F, and then as you can see how those parts may correlate, you got B1, B1, and then as you see here, when you kind of lay it down, you can kind of see that's the exact way that one goes, and then this one, you would flip it over, and that would be the way that one goes. So it has the B1 and the B2 pieces and all that. So for this first particular part where we're working on the fuselage, we're going to need to start with this particular board, which is the F board. All right, so from there, it's going to talk about go ahead and lay out the right side and left side by pinning down and cementing the 3 and 32-inch square longerons and uprights. And then it has those labeled B1, B2, B3, and then here's the B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, that kind of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and work on that. It says, note, I have provided both the left and right side fuselage layout for your convenience, which is what we have here. Now, I spoke with Jeff from Lower Alabama, and when he puts these together, he likes to cut out the sections and work on them individually, which I think is a great idea. I was looking at doing that with this particular plane, but since everything is so dang close together, and this is my first time, I'm just going to leave it all laying on out there. But in the future, that may not be a bad idea. So think about that when you're looking at your plans if things happen to be spaced out well enough to do that. So that's what we're going to work on. So building tip, pin down and cement B1 and B2 together. So here that's talking about B1 and B2, which is going to be this piece and these two pieces right here. It says pin down and cement these two together first before you start moving out. So this is going to be literally our first two pieces, B1 and B2. So to go ahead and get those out, of course. All right, so I've got the piece that we're going to need. So let's go ahead and get this pieces cut out and let's get them laid down. So let's go ahead and break out the knife here. Now, it's a good idea to have something to cut on other than your surface. So I do happen to have a cutting board here. So I'll just go ahead and throw that bad boy down. Looks like I need to wash that thing. Anyway, nonetheless, that's perfect for what we're doing here. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut out all the parts there. This is going to be one of the parts, one of the times when I actually go ahead and do some fast forward. So here we go. All right, friends. So as you see, I got that all cut out. Now, my first time ever cutting balsa out, I did notice that with a super sharp knife as I was using, and even though that these parts are, pre-laser cut and just have a couple of pieces that you have to cut off, the blades being super sharp, this wood being super soft, it is super easy to I did not cut as straight as you think it is. It's a very small gap. You figure you can just cut straight over, but it is very easy for a very sharp knife to cut into that very soft balsa in a non-straight way. So just try, you saw me here when I kind of did these and I just kind of came back and did the full line and then they dropped out. But some of the other ones, when you do them, they immediately pop. As soon as you cut it, they pop loose. You can hear it. And these other times they did not, and then I did the full run, and then they dropped out. So something that I've found already so far to consider. So let's go ahead and pull this off to the side. This particular piece now is empty, so I'm going to just throw it in my balsa scraps area, and let's just move these pieces off to the side. And talk about what we got. All right. So, as it said, now I want to lay your pieces out right over the model. Okay. And then you got this piece here. And I'm just going to lay them out first, just kind of give you an idea, because you got to flip some over to get them to fit right. Yeah. All right. Oops. And then you have these little triangles. These are things that are known as gussets, and you'll see that they're going to be mounted in areas like here. Here's one. You'll see them here at the top. So these kind of go on the sides and on the tops, make like kind of a little half box in these areas. So you got these. And then it starts talking about the other pieces that we had. Oops, let me get to that. So I keep forgetting it's the flip this way. All right. So we're talking about the B5, the B6, all that. And it does have them labeled out here. So you see, let me move this off to the side. So we got those. Then we have the B3s, which are right here. Okay. And if you lay these ones down, you'll see that these are too long. Like if you happen to like pull them off separately, like I did, as opposed to keeping them close. So I guess the thing to do is to take them out and put them down next. But you can see that this one's a little long, so this must be B4 up here. All right. So that's at least a saving grace for you. So that is B4 right there. All right. And these do have a slight curve to them. So B3, yep, look at that. Fits right in there perfectly, just like a puzzle. I guess that's exactly what this is, balsa puzzle. All right. And then you have B6. And when you look at the diagram here, you can kind of see you got B6 back over here, B6 over here. You got the B5s right here. All right. So that kind of gives you an indication as to, and then of course you got the gussets. Okay. The gussets here. And then like I said, they go here, here, and then here, here. So that's where the other 4 go. So we'll hold those off to the side because that's top and bottom. So that's basically what we got out of that one particular piece. Let me grab that again. And that was piece 32F. All right, so that's the first thing you'll do is the last numbered piece of the panels. And that's what we got to work with. So now what we'll do is based on the instructions, like I said, it talks about pinning these pieces together or pinning them in place and then going ahead and gluing those together. So let's go ahead and work on doing that next. So next tool I need is the pins. All right, friends, so I got my pins and I got my glue ready to go. With the pins, I happen to have one of these little magnets, which you guys may have seen before, but I just have it stuck on the back. A couple reasons: one, to make it easier to hold in the hand, and two, make it a little harder for all these pins to come falling out if for some reason, because now they're all pretty well stuck in there. Dave, life hack, boom, magnets. All right, so like I said, go ahead and pin these in place. Now, I've never actually pinned these things in place before, but I have seen in the YouTube videos that I watched, and I'll put some links down in the description below, because I was watching like the ones from Flight Test and then Model Aircraft, that kind of thing. Those good channels, so I'll put some links down in the description for that. But basically, you're not pinning into the wood, you're pinning the wood in place. So you're just going to kind of find places where I'm not going to be doing any glue. So this first notch point here may be a great place to start. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the pin right into the mat first before I put the piece, and then I'm going to push the piece into place. And then that way I know I've got a good starting spot. And then I'll go ahead and pin the other corner once the lines match up, just like that. All right, so that's basically there, and then should fit right in there. Make sure it's flat on the paper. It is. All right, and like I said, we're going to be working on gluing these pieces together. So I've got this other notch up here. So push that in, lock that in there. All right, that should hold that in place. It looks like it's pushing it up just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the pins backwards some, take some of that stress off. There we go. Okay. All right. And then, like it says, we're going to want to do kind of the same thing here with this piece. We're going to want to pin it together in areas that are not going to affect this glue joint that we're going to put in. So grab a couple more pins. And let's see. Oops. We're going to do the same kind of thing. So since that's the case, we're going to go ahead and pin this bottom here. And then move this into place. Now, according to the diagram, it does, you can see on this one here, this larger piece does hang down further than this wishbone piece. So as long as you're matching it up, should be in good shape. So I'm going to keep it away from the glue joint. So I'm going to pin this one back a bit, because I don't want to get into the glue joint. Kind of angle it out of my way too, so I can get to the glue joint. All right. And then same thing over here. Put it basically kind of right on the other side of the other pin, so you get that good finger pinch. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and, as we're going to anticipate doing some gluing here, always want to kind of keep the pin points away from the glue joints. I know I've got the one up here that's probably in the way, but right now that's important for what we've got going on here. But I will continue to secure this, and as I do, I will make sure that I stay away from the actual lines and where everything else is supposed to go. So I will put it here, and then now I'll come back over here on this side, kind of give it that. All right, and that's pretty firm right now. Again, we're really just focusing on this joint. So we're going to leave it sit like that. Now let's move to this and do it again. I'll go ahead and speed this up for you. All right, so now it is time to apply some glue. So let's get up into here. Now again, I'm a hot glue and paper tape kind of guy, so I've never used this stuff before in my life. I assume, yeah, there's no hole. So let's use these pins to put one in. There we go. All right. And since this is the one that's got glue on it, we'll push this one out of the side. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and just glue these joints together. And I'm going to push down this piece so that it forms a little bit of a gap. And hopefully that glue will come out. Yep, there it comes. All right, and then, boom. Then I will push the pins in to really hold that in place. And may not be a bad idea to throw another one right here at an angle to help keep it pushed down. All right? All right, so there we go with that. So far, so good. Let's do this again. Let me get another pin ready. All right, so let's see, push this piece down, we'll come back at it from this side. Put a little beaterooski on there, nothing crazy. Don't want to be flooding the joints. All right, and then make sure that those are pushed together. We'll go ahead and push these together now, and go ahead and kind of push that in and hold that in place. All right, so there we go. So we'll let those two pieces sit like that, and just for good measure, just kind of stroke the, not really squeezing the bottle, just want to make sure that holds together. All right, should be good. All right, so that is that, and hopefully those are looking like they're gonna stick together pretty well. Let's go over the glue I am using here. Now, I got this from my local hobby store. This is some of that Instacure. It is the 1 ounce bottle. I think it was like $6.50 or something like that. Let's see if you can kind of get a glimpse on that there. I don't know if that's blurry or not, but I got the gap filling medium set, or the medium thickness, and it is a 5 to 10 second glue, which I figured would be enough time for me to be able to do what I did here, add pins later. So, and it's a gap filling machine, glue, so they said it would work just fine for what I got going on here. So that should be fine. Now, moving on to the rest of this. So now it's saying, so start, note by putting B1 and 2 together before you start to lay out the 33 by 32 inch longerons and uprights. Okay, so now this is what it's talking about with the formers or longerons or uprights. All right, so you're using these for multiple purposes, but what they're talking about here is like adding them here, here. So we're going to start adding those in, adding a piece here. It does have a note here about a crack point that you'll want to put here, because of course obviously this needs to go in between there, so we'll have to cut a piece to go there, and then that should be fine because obviously these are way long enough. And same kind of thing here, we're going to need to put a crack point here for this to continue down, and these are all individual, glued together individually kind of thing. It's not a stringer, as you can see you can see here. All of these are on the inside. These are not glued to the outside, such as put the stringer down and then put something over it. These are pieces that are glued individually out of this one long stringer. So we'll be cutting that accordingly, and then this is where like the gussets and stuff fit. So that's where the hobby knife is going to come in play, because we'll put them in place, use the hobby knife to cut it at the direct angle, and then when we run out of wood for that string, we'll grab another one and continue to cut out the other pieces. All right, so that's the plan now, and we'll kind of just leave what we've got here in place just so we know that we've got them and where we're going to go. So this should be set. So let's work on the next part. So really it's going to be dealer's choice whether you want to work on the right or the left side. So at this point, I guess really, I don't know, we'll just go with the left side, which happens to be left for you, but actually on my right side. So we'll work on that. So here is, let's see, let's start with something good like this part we were talking about before. We'll go ahead and take that pin out. And then we'll go ahead and put this bad boy in place. All right. And then we'll go ahead and cut it. All right, because every time you see a line, that means that that is the end of that piece. All right, so we see that line is directly there. These are pretty small, so I'm not going to worry about doing that. How I'm going to cut these, though, is I'm basically just going to lay it on the wood right over the line. And instead of dragging it, I'm just going to push down. There we go. All right. So then that will be this piece. Voila. Looks good. Okay. And if you happen to notice, like, I think this is still in the right place. So maybe, let's see, did I cut that just like a finger hair too long? Maybe. So if that's the case, let's go back and just trim her up. There we go. All right, that's the beauty of balsa. All right, so now we've got that piece in play. Let's take the same piece we were using, and let's figure out what's going to be the next piece to connect that to something else. And probably here, that'd be a good one, and work on these. Let's see, and see, even this is not one long piece. It stops here, and then you have this longer stringer here. So got that one already. So let's work on, like I said, these pieces here. So to do that, we'll set this one in place and right over the line and push down flat until you hear it go snap. All right, so there's that. Let's do the same thing here. Now this has got kind of a little angle cut to it, so just give it a little shaver-ooski so it'll fit down in the hole there. There we go, just like that. And same thing here, it's going to have an angle cut here. You're going to want to go straight up this line. So snap. All right. And how much we got left? We got this piece for sure. And we got enough to do that other upper piece there too. All right, great. So let's do that. Move those off to the side. Right over the line. And push down flat. So you hear it go snap. Like I said, well, let's see, that's too short for that. And let's see, anything else? No, we'll go ahead and do this piece. And snap. All right. There we go. So that's this piece, and this piece, and this piece. All right. Pretty cool so far, right? I'm enjoying it. All right, let's go ahead and grab another one. Oh, wait a minute. And this piece, my bad. All right. All right, so that is actually probably a pretty good start for, except for this top piece. But as far as this, that's a pretty good start to start pinning and doing a little bit of gluing just so that these other pieces are definitely the right length. So let's work on that. We can go ahead and glue and pin all this, and then we'll move to the other side and do the same part, and then we'll come back. All right, so let's do that. So let's go ahead and pin this little monster in place, and I'll go ahead and speed it up now. All right, so there we go. We got the first part laid out and glued laid down. So we're going to go ahead and swip on over to the other side and do that as well. So I'll spare you that. Here we go. All right, friends. So here we go. We've got it, all the pins out, all the pieces glued together, and we've got on the wax paper here. So let's see. Here we go. There we go. That is one side, the left side of the fuselage. There we go. Very cool. Very nice. So it is very dainty, but it is definitely glued together. So pretty cool. It seems to look exactly the way it should. So very nice. So what we will do now is I will repeat the process over here on the right side layout and get that taken care of. And I will spare you all of this particular part that you just sped through. And I will just clap my hands and make this appear. All right, friends, now you see I have the right side of the fuselage completed. And I can tell you that the right side of the fuselage went a lot quicker than the left side. So that's good news for those newbies out there just like me. You do learn a lot. I'm glad I went ahead and completed the left side of the fuselage as opposed to just doing the front and moving back and forth, because you'll learn a lot. Little mistakes here, you kind of clean up here. So really glad I did that. But as you can see, I've got them both completed here, and they are both looking pretty sweet. I can tell you another tip that I did discover. Even though we're using the wax paper, since we are using a CA type glue, it may stick to the wax paper still just a little bit. So I have found when I did it here as well as here, the best way for me that I found so far to peel it off, as opposed to try to do it by your hands, I just took the instructions and just kind of slid them under there, and then just slowly, kind of just like a pancake with it off a pan, I just kind of slid it off, and there you go, no damage. So that's how that worked. It was only tacked in a couple of spots, and not a big deal, but still I didn't want to mess with it with my fingers. So there's a little tip for you that I learned or picked up along the way. But there we go. We got both sides of the fuselage for the Beechcraft Staggerwing here. Starting to get an idea what kind of size this bad boy is going to be. So that's pretty cool. About the size of a loaf of bread, maybe a little bigger. So that'll be fun. Of course, the wingspan ought to be real nice on that as well. So you can see it's a good sized model. So not bad. So I think it's a good place to stop here. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you enjoyed something. I hope you got something out of it as well. If so, please give me a thumbs up and a like in the comments. I'd greatly appreciate it if you leave some good comments there, something constructive or something else you want to see. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here on part 2 of a Balsa Virgin building a Balsa plane for the first time, and we're building the Beechcraft Staggerwing kit number 332, which is this one right here from Dumas. There's a rubber band powered Balsa kit, and it is pretty sweet so far, and it's coming along pretty sweet. So if you enjoy watching this and you want to see some more, please let me know. But until next time, I am Dave, and this is the Dumas Staggerwing Balsa kit, and we are out of here.